Hey guys, I'm sharing my computer screen with you here to kind of show you where and how to get to Schoology. So first things first, you want to go to the Fountain Middle School website, which is ffca.org/FMS. From here, under the parent-student icon or option in the banner, you can type in here remote learning in FFC8. And by selecting that, you scroll down over here under quick links. There is Schoology student and staff access and login. You can simply click there, and that should then allow you to log in with your normal school credentials and login. This is what mine looks like, as I have all these classes are all separate classes that I'm teaching. So this is the pre-AP class icon, and then you should see Core 2, and then my Core 3, and then Core 4. Now, with that, um, this is basically where you're going to need to go to access all your basic information that you will need to start your work on a daily basis for whatever class you're taking. So I wanted to make sure to show you how to get there and how to access that first. Okay, so once you've been able to successfully get into Schoology, yours will look kind of similar to what mine is. You'll have your classes that are in here. It won't look just like mine, but you'll have the class that you're in with me, plus your other core classes and electives. So when you actually enter a class, you just simply click on the box. Now, this is what mine looks like. So what I've done here for you in this week one activity here is I also created another video here, just, saying what's up and kind of giving a heads up for what the activity is. And then, of course, I've kind of laid out what I want you guys to do over a period of time. And that's also in this first link right here. You click this. So when you click on this here, Mr. Littrell Online Class, gives you everything you can read here about, and then it gives you a kind of a rundown, a schedule of what the expectations are. So day one, what I need you to do, which day one would be tomorrow or Wednesday, depending on when you have my class. So there's a schedule that's out, and we're kind of dividing the work. So if you're like, whatever you have for like, based on your core classes will determine if you have that class on Tuesday, Wednesdays, or if you have that on Thursday, Fridays. So basically, you're only going to have my class 2 days a week. And this first activity you're doing is a district, or not sorry, district, it's a DBQ, it's a data-based questionnaire where it's going to ask you to simply read some primary resources that are very, very, very short. There'll be 3 resources that you'll use to argue one side for, or argue 3, or are 3 resources that argue against the actual writing prompt question. So, and you'll see that once you open up the DBQ. Now, I've tied everything still back to OneNote, which I'll show you how to get to your OneNote from this screen, where you can easily log in and find the actual work to complete. So, good news is for all of my class or all my students, Littrell's classes, then we're still using OneNote. And you'll be able to find this activity in the assessments folder, since this is an actual project slash kind of assessment. So you'll be able to do all your work in OneNote like you have been doing for me, so there'll be nothing new there. The only thing really new is just this. We're using Schoology instead of my teacher page to locate everything that we're doing or what's being assigned. The best way to reach me too, I wanted to point that out there, is going to be to shoot me an email. I can access email from my phone and from the computer, so that way if for some reason I'm not at my computer because I'm taking care of my own kids or something like that, or I had to step out for a moment to run to the store or whatever, I can respond to your email through my phone too. So again, use the email here, p.littrell@ffca.org, for any questions. I'll be trying to post videos on here to kind of help guide you through the process too. I'll make another video. I'm kind of just going through the DBQ, the DBQ assessment, which is the John Brown DBQ, and what that is and what it looks like. So that way you kind of understand what each page is. I'll also do some recordings too of the reading and put that in some of your guys' OneNote folders. You can click on the icon to have it read to you there as well. If you're having any issues accessing the class, there is an access code, but this access code is specific to the class. This access code would only be specific to this particular class, which is the pre-AP 8th grade social studies class. So if you're not in the pre-AP class, you do not want to use that access code because you'll be in the wrong class, okay? Those classes are going to be differentiated a little bit, so the pre-AP class might have a little bit different activities than compared to my other general 8th grade social studies class. So if you're having an issue, I can shoot you those codes to your specific class if you're still having troubles locating or getting into the class, or if it gives you an error. Other than that, just follow the daily schedule. As you can see here, this has taken us out to basically about 2.5 weeks, about 2.5 weeks of work. And if we have to, we can extend that to make it a full 3 weeks. Again, that's 2 classes per week. So right now, this is estimating about 5 classes, and each class is about 30 to 45 minutes of work where you're working on social studies, about 30 minutes really. And if we find that we're still needing more time, I can extend it by 1 more class period to accommodate everyone and give them that extra time. And with that, this should take us basically through the month of April. And that leaves us basically just May, where if we do get to come back to a face-to-face setting, we will then have the opportunity then to finish Civil War. If not, we'll have other projects that we'll be looking to begin and complete for the month of May to finish out the school year. So obviously, we'll have to be flexible in that regard. Okay, lastly here, I just wanted to show you when you're in Schoology. Again, this is what it should look like for you. This is by me clicking into the first link, which says week 1, and all the instructions are there. With that, there's what I'm asking for you to do on this first day is just watch some videos. I'd like you just to watch some videos. If you want to take notes, you can, but the videos are just giving you the background knowledge that you need to have a better understanding of who John Brown is, what Bleeding Kansas was, what actually led up to this major event where an American citizen basically tries to take matters in his own hands. And it was a very interesting time of history just before the Civil War began. But the kind of the writing's on the wall, and that's why I have these videos posted here for you. So if you go back to your materials here, click the materials option, and select this folder here, I have looks like 6 videos I would have you watch, and they're in chronological order. So you just would simply click on each of these videos, and they're like a couple minutes long, but it just explains what the Missouri Compromise was, what the gag rule was, which is this rule that Congress passed, and what that means, what the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 was, and who that upset and what that caused. And then all of a sudden, then we have the Compromise of 1850, then we have the Kansas-Nebraska Act, and then that leads to then Bleeding Kansas, which then leads right into our DBQ on John Brown and who he was. So just watch the videos. I'm not grading any notes on this, but I want you to watch them so you have the background knowledge. That'll be your first day of class. That should take you through about 30 minutes of work. And then once that's done, go back to week 1 or week 1/week 2. And then like I said, April 9th or 10th, when you have my class again, then that's when you'll begin the John Brown DBQ. If you want to work ahead, you're more than welcome to do so. If you're liking the resource, you're liking the activity, then go ahead and jump in and just spend the time and do it. Just remember, though, that you still need to allot time for your other classes. Now, what I'm going to show you lastly here is this right here, the OneNote links. If you see right here is the OneNote class book link. If you click on this, it should take you to OneNote, where then it allows you to sign into your OneNote, and this is through Office 365, so it's going to be the same. Now, if you don't want to access it this way and you want to access the more traditional way you've always have because you have it saved as an icon, it doesn't matter. Really, you just need to get into it. If you don't want to do it from here, I just want to show you can access it from Schoology. But if you don't want to do it from there, you can obviously just simply go straight to OneNote like you have before in my class. Now, in OneNote, this is what the activity is going to look like. All right, it's going to be in your assessments folder under Unit 5 U.S. Civil War. Okay, now this is the actual DBQ itself. This is John Brown. This just give you some information here. We're going to kind of forego these instructions at this point. We're just going to basically focus on this yellow highlighted question. That is your writing prompt. John Brown, hero or villain? Question mark. You're going to have to choose. Is he a hero or is he a villain? So you have to pick one, and you'll use that in your RA and your RICE and your RICE writing or race writing, and you restate that question and answer. And of course, introduce 3 things to prove why he's a hero or villain. And then of course, that's when you'll dive into your citations. This background here, it's important to read this just to get more familiarity on who John Brown was, what he did. This might show up a little bit also in that Bleeding Kansas video, but just still read over this. You won't use any of this background here. None of this will be used for your paper. It's just, again, just giving you background knowledge on who the guy was and what the event was. Then we get into the actual documents. So what's happened or what's assigned here is that you're getting 6 documents. So I want you to read and answer questions for all 6, and then 3 of these documents are going to help prove that he's a hero, and 3 you can also use as support for a villain. So you're going to only use 3 of the 6, depending on how you want to argue whether John Brown's a hero or a villain. So you read the source. You can see very, very, very short. Not very long resource. So I'm not asking you to read multiple pages, just a paragraph or a few sentences in some case. Then you're going to read answer the questions to that actual to that document. And then of course you have document B. It's a song. You read the song. You can even sing it if you like. And then of course answer the questions. And then C, same thing. Read the source. Look how small and short that is, and then answer the questions. And of course D. Same thing. E, same thing. F. And F is just a picture. So you're looking at an image here. There's John Brown. Look at the images. What do you see in there? What's going on? And then, of course, answer the questions. So that's basically the biggest part of this is first is to break down those documents. If you want to use Avid's marking the text strategy to do so and do picky highlighting, we'll hopefully have another video we can add. Again, just remind you of that process of how to do picky highlighting and how to do Avid's marking the text. But again, I'm not grading that function. It's just a tool that you can use that we have done in class multiple times to annotate a text. Once you have completed all of this, which now this is getting into multiple days of the actual activity, then you're going to be ready to start writing your paper. And again, what I've done is I created you an outline / rough draft right here where you'll have your RA. Again, that's restate and answer. The actual prompt, again, you go back up to where it's highlighted in yellow where it says, John Brown, hero or villain. You'll turn that into a statement, a thesis statement. And then, of course, you have your little IC, so you're introduce each of the topics that you're going to use. And then you're going to put your citations in here. So what I did is help you just kind of breaking it down using Reese writing. And then, of course, then you'll take all of this and turn it into one paragraph and just type up a final draft here. And that's the whole project. That's the whole DBQ project. So it's just taking documents, using them, primary resources to support your argument, whether he is a villain or a hero, and then writing a paragraph. So I have some suggestions here on how many sentences each of these sections should be. Your thesis should be anywhere from 1 to 2 sentences. And then if your citation can be anywhere from 2 to 3 sentences each. Just if you choose 2 sentences, make sure each are 2 sentences for your citation. And then E, just simply, again, tie it back to your thesis statement and explain how your citations prove your thesis statement. So, all right, with that, that should be all the instruction you guys should need to get started and get going. If you have any other questions, again, shoot me an email. That's going to be the best way to always ask me a quick question and get help. I can respond by phone if we have to. I can also contact you or call you to speak over the phone if needed. So, yep. Thank you for your time. And like I said, good luck, and we'll get through this. All right, guys.